One of the best things that you can do to create a secure retirement is keep your taxes as low as possible. When you're retired, you don't want to be paying any more in taxes than you need to because in some cases you're on a fixed income and you want that income to go as far as it can possibly go. So how do you do that? Well, here's 4 ways that you can reduce taxes in retirement. Number 1, maximize Social Security. So not just for the higher income that's going to create, but Social Security is taxed a lot more efficiently than distributions from your IRA or from a pension or other income sources that you're going to have. Social Security, only 0 to 85% of it is even going to be included in your taxable income. So depending on your other income sources, between 0 and 85% of your Social Security benefit will even be included in your taxable income. Now on top of that, many states don't tax Social Security. I'm in California. California does not tax Social Security. So what that means is that if you could choose to take $1,000 from an IRA or $1,000 from Social Security, the dollars from Social Security, the $1,000 from Social Security, you're going to end up with more of those dollars after taxes are taken out. So the more you increase Social Security, not only is it giving you a higher income, it's also lowering the taxes that you'll have to pay on that income. Number 2, practice smart asset allocation or asset location. What asset location is when you have investments, you're investing because you have capital gains, you have dividends, and you have interest. Now, interest in certain types of dividends, they're taxed at ordinary income rates. So whatever your tax bracket is, that's the tax rate you're going to pay on interest in some types of dividends. Now, capital gains, you're going to have a more tax preferential tax treatment of those gains. As those gains are being taxed, they're taxed at a lower rate. So what does this mean for you? Let's assume that you have a portfolio and half of it pays interest, let's say it's in bonds, and the other half is more focused on capital gains. Well, the interest portion of your portfolio, it's going to be subject to higher taxes. So maybe you have a traditional IRA. And keep in mind that any growth in a traditional IRA is completely tax deferred. Well, that might be a great account to invest your investments in that don't have great tax treatment. Because as that interest is happening or as those dividends are being paid, you're not paying any taxes on it. Now with your capital gain investments, which is going to be stocks for the most part, maybe you put those outside of your IRA in your brokerage account. Because as that money is growing and capital gains are being realized, you're paying that at a much lower tax rate. So it's not just about what types of investments do you own, it's also about where do you own them. And that's where asset location comes into play. Number 3, focus on more than just dividends. So there's an obsession that people have with dividends sometimes. Of, I'm only dividend paying stocks and look at the dividends I'm receiving from these stocks, and that can be good. But keep something in mind. When a company is paying a dividend, what that means is that they have revenue and they have profits. And the board of directors sits there and they say, we have these profits, what do we do with them? Do we pay these out to people in the form of a dividend? Or do we take this money and reinvest it into the company, making the value of our company grow? Well, in this case, let's say that a 5% dividend is paid. That's a 5% return on your investment. Or if that 5% is reinvested, it's a 5% increase in the value of the stock. So same impact, same thing, but that dividend is fully taxable. So as that dividend is paid out, you're having to pay taxes on it. Whereas that capital gain, that's just increasing the value of your stock or of your investment, and that's not taxable until you choose to sell it. So by focusing on dividends, it can be a good part of your investment strategy, but it's going to subject you to more taxes because as those dividends are paid out, you're having to pay taxes on that. Whereas capital gains, that value of that investment, the growth of that investment can keep growing until you choose to sell it, and when you do, it'll be taxed at a lower rate. And then number 4, reduce what are called IRMAA surcharges. So it's not technically a tax, but in retirement, the premiums that you pay for Medicare will be based upon your income. So the higher your income, the higher the premiums you pay for Medicare Part B and Part D. So as you're looking at your income, you want to be very smart. You want to have a controlled plan for where do you take income from to keep that income as low as possible, because not only are you keeping your taxes lower, your income taxes lower, you're also keeping your Medicare premiums lower. If your income's too high, not only does it put you in a higher tax bracket, but it also increases the premiums that you're going to pay on your Medicare surcharges. So in retirement, keeping taxes low is crucial. These are 4 ways that you can do that to pay less in taxes and keep more of your income in retirement.